TVs are getting bigger all the time, and I want to show you what's happening with Samsung's range of larger screen TVs. So behind me here is their brand new Neo QLED QN90F 4K Smart TV, and this is actually 98 inches, so it is really massive. But they've just added a new size to the range, so let me show you. Come take a look at this. Over here we have a 115-inch TV. Look at how enormous this one is. So I'm 5'10", and it is just dwarfing me. So there's a few things to know about having a 115-inch TV in your home, and I'm going to take you through that, just as well as how the picture looks. It is pretty mind-blowing, so let's get into it. Let's start with the basics first. If you're unfamiliar with Samsung's TV ranges, the QN90F basically sits at the top of its 4K TV range. This is also a mini LED or sort of Neo QLED television. Mini LED is a type of backlighting technology that gives you as much precision and control as you can pretty much get for a TV that isn't an OLED TV. So this is an LED TV. In addition to that, 4K panel, keep that in mind. If you wanted an 8K panel, for example, then you would go with the QN900F instead. But there isn't actually one of those in this massive 115-inch size. This model here ranges from 65 inches all the way up to an enormous 115 inches. As a top-of-the-range 4K TV, this one definitely gets a lot of cool bells and whistles, starting with Samsung's Vision AI, which is all about customizing settings and predicting what kinds of things you'd like to see on your screen, to some pretty cool gaming modes, as well as adaptive sound, and you get that Samsung TV interface, or One UI, as well. There's no doubt that 115 inches just amps everything up in terms of immersion. I mean, cinematic movies and sport and gaming experiences are all just huge. However, the problem is that with a big screen, if a company's not careful, the bigger it gets, the more obvious its shortcomings are. So I was really surprised to find out that there's actually some extra tech in this model that the other models in the range don't actually get, to make sure that this picture looks great even though it's massive. So starting with the chip, and that's what sort of drives the picture quality, this model gets the NQ8 AI Gen 3 chip. Now, this chip is the same one that goes into Samsung's 8K TVs. And the reason why they have this chip is because 8K requires so much more processing power than 4K TVs. So basically you're getting an 8K TV chip in this model, and it's not in the rest of the range. So this extra power is designed to help this 4K image look as sharp and clear and as good as possible when it's stretched out to such a large panel size. So there are things like 768 AI neural nets on this chip versus the 128 on the chip that's for normal 4K TVs, working in conjunction with Samsung's supersized picture enhancer, and that's an upscaling technology. Also, it does things like it takes the ambient light into account, it will adjust things like noise, it will make sure that the saturation is right based on the light levels, and really just make sure that everything looks nice and fine and sharp, but stretched to such a huge panel size. So one of the downsides of such a big screen is that it can reflect a lot of light because of all of that surface area, and that could be lights from the ceiling because it is actually so close to the ceiling, or from the windows, and you definitely want to look at a reflection of yourself when you're watching TV. So this does have an anti-glare coating. Samsung's actually had this certified as a glare-free coating. But look, I think that what I've seen is that it is really quite effective. In addition to that, I don't see any strange color casts or any sort of reduction in contrast either. So I think they've done a great job with this technology. Look, I found this to be a very bright panel as well, partially because it's just so huge that it actually kicks off quite a bit of light. Now, Samsung doesn't actually have brightness rating figures, but I can tell you that areas of the scenes that I've watched that are meant to be, say, daylight or outside really do punch through. There is just quite a bit of brightness. So because this is a mini LED backlight, it's actually a local dimming backlight. It uses a special version of this, which actually has smaller mini LEDs. They're about 1/50th versus 1/40th of the size of Samsung's normal LEDs. So that just provides even more precision and control over where black areas are. And you can really see on the TV behind me as well that just with those black bars on the top or bottom, there's absolutely no sort of light leakage into those black areas, which is really good to see. So I'd definitely say that with this one, it's kind of got that pro version of the mini LEDs, so they are smaller, and it really just means that you're getting a more precise picture and greater contrast control. So I've watched a lot of different types of content, and I have to say that overall I was really quite impressed with the picture quality. I mean, first off, I think that with 4K resolution on such a large panel, I was worried that it might look a little bit pixelated. Definitely doesn't, especially if you're sitting around 3 meters away or 3.5 meters away. In addition to that, I really like the way it handled color. I mean, with Dune behind me as an example, there's a lot of muted colors, a lot of subtle differences, and I think it did a great job of finding a great balance there. Things aren't oversaturated. It's not sort of shouting super bright colors, so it really does find a nice balance. In addition to that, having that bright panel adds that extra kick of realism in the brighter areas, but with HDR10, I think that the contrast is handled really well too, thanks to that mini LED technology. In addition to that, also, I think that, I mean, I've just noticed this may appear just a little bit sharper, or maybe it's just my preference, versus the 98-inch model of the QN90F. Maybe that's because of that extra processing power and those extra algorithms working a little bit harder to make sure that this looks good on such a big panel size. Now, of course, you can fine-tune the TV to the look that you like. There's a lot of settings to do that, but with Vision AI, this really is all about, I guess, learning about the types of picture settings you like, and then it will apply that to the type of content you're watching. To Vision, also there's adaptive sound, and that again figures out what kind of content you're watching and then fine-tunes how the sound should be for that type of content. So for example, if you're watching movies with big explosions drowning out everything else, it might maybe reduce the explosion sounds and then raise the levels of sort of the vocal tracks instead, just to kind of find that right mix, again, towards the preferences that you prefer. So very smart stuff. In terms of detail, wow, check out that. I mean, this is a 4K TV, not an 8K TV. Everything looks really nice and sharp. Those little turtles are traced quite nicely out of the blue background. So yeah, it looks fantastic. Okay. Well, gone are the days where you throw the TV into the back of the car and take it home with you. So this is the box. It is really massive, and it does take some consideration for having such a big TV in your home. First off, this is about, I think, 2.76 meters long, and another, I think it is 1.65 high. It also weighs 133 kilograms. That's with the box and the TV inside it. It's only about 83.7 kilograms, just the TV itself. But otherwise, you need to consider whether, for example, it'll fit in a lift or an elevator, or if you have you want to put this on the second floor of your house, whether you can get it up the stairs, whether it has enough clearance. Of course, when you buy it, will 99% of the time it'll be delivered. They'll come and set it up for you as well. I'd absolutely make sure of that. This will take 4 people to carry it, but the box actually has a good design here where you don't actually have to lie the TV flat to put the base legs on it. It actually stands up in the box itself once you take the cover off, so that's handy, but hopefully you'll never have to worry about that. Once it's set up, you've got a 115-inch diagonal, or that measures out to about 2.65 meters across, 1.52 meters down. The other thing you need to consider is where should you put your sofa? How far away do you need to be from the screen? So Samsung uses a SMPTE, which is an industry standard measurement for that. So what this is it basically takes you in the center of a cinema, and with the screen sort of in an optimal viewing experience, you would have it occupy about 40% of your field of view. So in order to get that same sort of cinematic experience where the TV screen is 40% of your field of view, you need to be 3.5 meters away from it. So set the sofa 3.5 meters away. However, if you have a 98-inch TV, you can set your sofa just to be 3 meters away. But Samsung believes that most Australian households definitely are set up to have that much room. So good news, no excuses not to have a 115-inch screen in your home. With a screen this big, how much power does it use? Well, in typical consumption cases, you would probably have 428 watts being drawn from it. However, in max consumption, that's where I guess the screen is as bright as possible, it'll be 790 watts. And you can expect about 1565 kilowatt hours used annually per year averaged out, and it gets a 4.5 Energy Star rating here in Australia. I like the design too. It does look quite premium, and it should, because it is a very premium TV. In terms of colors, there's sort of a Titan black, which is kind of like a graphite black, along the bezels down at the bottom, and the stand itself is carbon silver. Otherwise, the panel thickness, it's pretty good for something this size. It's 34.1 millimeters, and that's consistent all the way down the panel, so there are no bulges or anything like that. There is a thin bezel around the outer sides of the screen, maybe about a centimeter or so, but otherwise I think it really is a beautiful and very stunning TV. I like that Samsung's put 4 very sturdy handles on the back of the TV. This is great in case you want to reposition it to a different part of the house. Definitely need 4 people to lift it though. Also, there are cable guides, so these little grooves along the back of the panel where you can run cables towards the center of the TV and then just down from there. In addition, the ports are all in a convenient location where they're not too high up, so you don't need a really long cable sort of to run up to maybe the middle of the TV, where I was afraid the cable ports might actually be. And you can unscrew and remove the handles in case you want to wall mount it so it doesn't stick out. You absolutely have to try gaming on a 115-inch screen. It is mind-blowingly incredible. You just won't be able to stop. Now, there are some gaming specific features here on this TV. First off, the panel is a 144 Hertz panel, so that supports variable refresh rates up to 144 frames per second. So really that just means really nice, smooth gaming action. You wouldn't want a big screen like this to have sort of juddery gaming at all. This is great for consoles because those only usually go up to 120 frames a second, so you have that extra 144 frames a second for when you're plugging in a PC. Plus it has AMD's FreeSync Premium Pro, plus a lot of other gaming features about getting the colors right and accurate for your gaming experiences too. There are 4 HDMI 2.1 ports. Normally you don't usually get all of them 2.1, so those all also support 144 Hertz VRR gaming. So I guess the big question is a 115-inch TV right for your home? And I have to say that I was really impressed with the Neo QLED QN90F TV. I mean, it was mind-blowing, next level style entertainment, just so immersive, so much punch, great color balance, and it was far sharper than I'd expected for a 4K TV to be of this size. So I think Samsung's done a fantastic job with this television. Now, it will cost $26,999. That's both Australian and US prices. Interesting, I guess Australians are gonna get a deal here on this one. But I guess the other thing to consider is Samsung actually did a bit of research, and they found that of the people who recently bought their 65-inch TVs, over half of them regretted not buying something bigger. Interesting. But they did find that of the people who bought a 75-inch or larger TV, 95% of them were happy with their purchase. So keep that in mind, but ultimately you really do need the right space for a television like this, and of course the budget to match. But another thing is that this is just the first of Samsung's 115-inch TV models. They have a micro RGB 115-inch model coming out soon, and this uses the next gen, really interesting RGB backlighting technology, and that should yield some incredibly colorful, rich, vibrant pictures. So I'm really excited to see that. But otherwise, let us know in the comments what you think of this 115-inch model. Is this something that you'd want in your home, or what size you think is a perfect fit? Love to know. Plus, I mean, these videos do take a lot of time. They're hard to make, so we would love it if you give us a like, or even better, subscribe to us. Definitely you won't miss out on that micro RGB 115. When it comes out, we'll tell you all about that one as well. Otherwise, I'm Val Quinn, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next tech video.